The last couple months I've been playing with a new way to get a different look in my footage, and that's using the Dehancer plugin for DaVinci Resolve. Today we're just going to be going over the ways in which you can apply it to your footage, because there's different ways to do it. All have their pros and cons, but real quick, we're just going to get into how to do it, and then we'll go over the pros and cons in a little bit. The first way to apply Dehancer is just to drag it and drop it straight onto your clip. The second way to apply Dehancer is to come into your color page and drag and drop the effect straight onto a node on your clip. The third way to apply it is to come up to your timeline nodes and to apply it straight onto your timeline. This will cover all of the clips in your timeline. The fourth way is to come back into your edit page and to take an adjustment layer and drag that above all the footage you wish to apply the effect to. Then you grab Dehancer and drag that onto the adjustment clip. So those are the 4 different ways to apply Dehancer to your footage in DaVinci Resolve. And you might be asking, like, why would you do one over the other? Some look like they're really simple and easy to do, and others look like they'd be kind of a pain in the ass and require a lot of extra steps. And essentially what it comes down to is it easier, or does it give you more flexibility on your footage? The first technique, just dragging it straight onto your clip, that's super easy. Maybe if you have less clips in your timeline and you have like a real small project, that might be a real quick, easy way to do it. And then you can just Control C, copy, and then paste it. And you're gonna wanna select plugins, and that will just, let me mute these. That'll just paste that look to all of the clips in your timeline. Personally, this doesn't work with my workflow because it limits your flexibility with being able to apply the effect and then turn it on and off. And also, if you're doing all of your adjustments within the Edit tab, you have to go to your color page to be able to use all your tools here. So for me, it just doesn't work that well. But if you're someone that doesn't like using the color page tools, this might be the quickest and easiest way to apply it. Our second technique here, coming into the color page where you drag and drop it straight onto a clips node tree, is really nice because it allows you to use the flexibility of the node tree. You get to place where in the chain you want that effect to happen. And then you have all of your color grading tools right here. I personally love the flexibility of being able to use all my tools that I like using in DaVinci Resolve, as well as the adjustments that you can actually make within Dehancer itself. The downside to this is that if you're in your edit page, you can't actually toggle it on and off. You have to come into the color page here, turn it off, turn it back on. You can come up to this little rainbow button in the corner, and that'll turn off your color page effects, all the changes you've made in your node trees. But it will also, if you've made some adjustments in your node tree here, and you come back and you hit that rainbow button, it'll turn everything off. So you don't have the option from your edit page here to just turn off what Dehancer is doing. Our third technique of coming up to the timeline and dragging and dropping the effect onto our entire timeline is really nice because it's doing it to everything in your timeline. So you don't have to deal with an adjustment layer like with our fourth technique. And so every clip in your timeline, no matter where it is, it's going to get that treatment, which is really nice. And then you also still get to use it within your color page here. So you can turn it on and off here. You can apply your effects. I would say the downside with this is that it's doing it to everything in your timeline. So if you bring a title into your timeline, and let's make this real crazy so you can see what it's doing. Super green. Yeah, there we go. So you can see it's doing it to everything. And no matter where I put this text, it's going to make that effect happen. And so you kind of are limited in the amount of control you can have. If you don't care and you are fine with everything in your timeline having whatever effect happens, then that's great. Then this is a super easy way to just have everything applied that way. If we turn that off, our fourth option gives you that flexibility back. And that's using an adjustment layer. We take an adjustment layer and we put that over all of our footage, and we drag and drop Dehancer onto the adjustment clip. So you can see it's applying it to everything underneath. The benefit of this is that we have more flexibility because now we can take elements and place it above the adjustment clip. So if you have a logo or you have text or you have other elements that you don't want the Dehancer plugin to be affecting, then this is a great way to separate that effect. So you can get that look really quickly just by dragging it across your entire timeline, and then you can come over here and lock it so you don't have to worry about accidentally changing it. And then the other half of this is if we go into the color page, I'm using Dehancer in my node tree. It's along in the chain, and so just in here I have Dehancer being used just to convert my log footage to Rec 709. And then I use it as a second instance as just applying the effect without converting anything. So Dehancer in this sense is just working on Rec 709, and this is where we're getting the grain, and we're getting all the effects that I've adjusted to get my film look. That's all being done on the adjustment layer, and Dehancer over here is just being used to turn it from log to Rec 709. So you might ask, well, I like using a conversion LUT, and I was using a conversion LUT as well. I had a conversion LUT that I really liked the look of, and it just does that. It just converts it to Rec 709. But what I found was that if you use just Dehancer itself, you use it to convert your footage from the camera that you have, I noticed that it had a much better outcome in the image when you are using just Dehancer, which would make sense because Dehancer Pro has the ability to convert your footage, and so it knows exactly where your footage was, your log footage, and it knows exactly where it's placing it into Rec 709. Whereas if you use a third-party LUT to convert for you, it's kind of like having two different teams try to make an image. So what I found for me is that if I use Dehancer to convert and to apply the look, I got the best results. I would say for this technique of doing both the adjustment layer and coming to the color page and having another instance of Dehancer was that it does slow my computer down. I have a MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip in it. It still slows it down, so I have to come up to the playback and change it to half or a quarter. So it is a little bit of a downside with that, as well as also taking a couple extra steps, but I think it's worth it for what I do, being able to separate everything into all these like nice little chunks that I can turn on and off as I please. Before we end the video, I'm going to go through 3 examples of how I've applied Dehancer to my projects. This one, it was all shot on the same camera, a Sony a7S III. Since it's all the same camera, I just have Dehancer in here one time. It's just on my adjustment clip, it's doing the conversion, and it's doing the look because it's just one camera. So the reason for using this technique here is that I didn't want my logo colors to be affected by the Dehancer here. So I can drag my, yeah, look at that. It changed my logo, and I didn't want my logo being changed. So that's another great reason to use an adjustment clip, and also not use the timeline node as well, because if you do the timeline node, you have no control over how that effect is being applied to your timeline. With this project, it's a mix of A7 IV clips and A7S III clips. A7 IV is this blue here. And so I have the Dehancer look being applied across everything here. So you can see it's much cleaner, a lot more like vibrant without it. And then with it, it just gives it this desaturated, kind of grainy, higher dynamic range look to the footage. But I didn't want all of the clips being converted into A7S III, so I broke it apart here. And you can see in here it's A7 IV, whereas this is an A7S III conversion. This technique is also great for interviews because we have 3 different cameras here. We have an A7S III, we have an A7 IV, and we have an A7 III. So they're all needing to be converted into a different Rec 709. And then I have my adjustment clip on top so I can toggle that so I can see what exactly Dehancer is doing. So the last example is actually for this YouTube video, and that's just dragging and dropping Dehancer straight onto the clip. Because in this instance, it's a really simple video. There's just a screen recording and then my little face over here. And so I only ever need Dehancer to happen once. And so the easiest way for me to do that is just to drag and drop it onto there. And I'm not trying to get real picky about the image. I applied the camera conversion from log to Rec 709 here, and also all the effects. That's the easiest and simplest way to do it. There's no reason for me to want to get into breaking it into adjustment layers and go into the color page. I essentially did everything here and I'm calling it a day. Those are the ways to apply Dehancer to your footage in DaVinci Resolve. I hope you learned something new. You got some new techniques to play around with. Find out which ones work best for you in your workflow. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below.